As a woman in leadership, perhaps you have a new position that you are transitioning into. Maybe you're starting your own business. What do you think it really takes for you to stand out as a woman in leadership? In this video, I'm going to share with you the first level, what we have to build upon to help you stand out as a woman in leadership. Now, many of you know that when you're trying to stand out from the crowd, it takes a lot of practice. You may have people that are in your inner circle, or maybe people you admire or inspired by, that you see they just stand out, and you wonder, what is it that makes them stand out? Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you how mastering your tone of voice is one of the many aspects that you have to work on as a woman in leadership in order to stand out from everybody else. Now, I will say, if this topic, mastering your tone of voice, stands out to you as a woman in leadership, or anyone that is really interested in trying to enhance how they're communicating as a leader, then you absolutely want to subscribe to this channel. Feel free to learn from my over 20 years of expertise. I have worked as a C-suite executive. I've been a director. I've managed many employees. I have had the opportunity to be featured on the news. I have interacted with congressional leaders, and I have provided Florida State congressional testimony here in the United States. So I've been in those situations where I understand how deeply and how important it is for you to communicate at that higher level than your peers. So if this sounds of interest to you, then you absolutely want to join me and watch this video until the end, because I'm going to share with you some strategies, or at least the very fundamental first strategy you have to do to master your tone of voice that will help you to start standing out from everybody else. Now, if you're watching this portion of the video, you are more than likely watching the replay. So I'm glad that you're here. Welcome. I appreciate you spending some time with me today. Feel free to ask me any questions that you have as it relates to how to master your tone of voice. I know it can be challenging, but I'm going to give you the very first step that you have to take in this video today. Now, this is a live video. You may notice things change in just a moment. Typically with lives here on YouTube, there's a point in time where people start to join the conversation. Give me just a few moments to at least greet everyone, say hello to them, and welcome them, and then we'll get right into how you can start learning how to master your tone of voice. So hello, welcome to all of you who have joined today. If you are ready to really stand out as a woman in leadership and stand out from other people, then this is a place for you. I'm going to share with you the very first step that you need to master your tone of voice so that you can stand out from everybody else. Now, the people that are subscribed to my channel, they know that I'm not here to make you just shine a little bit in front of everybody else. I'm here to make you outshine everybody else. And the way you do it is by how you communicate. So if you like this information so far, then subscribe to the channel. I'll be glad to have you here. All right, it's your girl, Sophia. Hello, welcome. How you doing today? Johnny, hello, welcome. Wednesday, Bickley. Hello, Wednesday. Hi, how are you also? Thank you, Johnny, for the comment. I appreciate that. And Food and Felons, hello, welcome. How are y'all doing today? Let me know where you all are joining from in this big, beautiful world today. And if you are ready to start learning how you can start mastering your tone of voice, then this is absolutely the place you want to be at today. I appreciate the heart emojis, and we're going to go right into it. And if you have any questions about how mastering your tone of voice can make you stand out from everybody else, then let me know in the comments below. Mason, hello, welcome. Mason, how are you doing today? Feel free to let me know where you all are joining from. So why does this matter? On my channel, I specifically talk about how you can really communicate at a higher level than your peers. So if this is something that you're interested in, then you need to stay and watch this video. If this is a topic where you're just thinking, oh, I don't know if I really even need to communicate, it doesn't matter, this is not the place for you. This is for the serious individuals that are really ready to go to that next level. And if you are watching this, then I know you're still here, and I know you're ready to make that big impact either on your businesses, on the world, or anywhere else that you're trying to do. So why is mastering your tone of voice a way for you to really stand out from everybody else? Why is it? And I appreciate the heart emojis. Thank you so much. Why is this important? So let me ask you all a question really quickly. I've been working with YouTube on trying to get these polls here. So let me ask you a question really quick. Give me just a second. I am typing here, so please don't go away. Hold on just a moment. Let me know what your thoughts are. So let me know your thought on this question. Okay, answer this for me. I can't move it. It's going to be on my head for just a moment. Bear with me. I want people to answer it. But for those of you who are watching the replay, the question is, do you think your tone of voice matters? This is a question that I'm asking the audience to respond to. Do you think your tone of voice matters? Let me know in the comments below. Even if you're watching the replay, you're welcome to put something in there and let me know what your thoughts are. All right, I'm going to go ahead and take this off because if you're watching the replay, the actual picture of the question appears right here on my forehead. I don't know why. I'm working with YouTube on that. This is, if many of you don't know, I'm on YouTube's live streamer research panel, and I'm going to be doing that for the next year. And I've been working with them on features of live streaming. They invited me because I was doing so many live streams. So this is the reason why I'm on the channel. But I want to let you all know that this is a question. So the replay, the question says, do you think your tone of voice matters? And it's over my head. So I'm going to move it down now so that we can talk and look at the responses that came in. Okay, so we have Cappy Lover. No, because it sounds like a girl. Okay, Cappy Lover, completely don't understand that. Benny123 Jack. Yes, sometimes. I agree with you, Benny123 Jack. It does. It makes a big difference. And let's see, Cappy Lover says, I meant it sounds a boy, but I'm a girl. Okay, so that's a really good point, Cappy Lover, that you actually bring up. And so that's something that we're going to talk about a little bit today. So if you're trying to stand out, believe it or not, especially how you communicate, it really does matter. People will either take you seriously or they will not take you seriously depending on your tone of voice and exactly how you're communicating. So let me give you some examples. The first example I want to share with you is that how many of you have ever been in a conversation with someone and you felt like you could just talk about anything silly? Let me know in the comments below. Most of the time when you have those conversations, there's something about their tone of voice or what they're saying that may be a bit more lax in terms of how they communicate. However, how many of you have been in a conversation with someone where you felt like, ooh, I need to really make sure I'm on my P's and Q's and I need to really listen to what they have to say? How many of you experienced that? Let me know in the comments below. The reason why there's a difference in terms of how you react is because of how you are speaking, what they're saying to you in terms of their tone of voice. Now, you may be wondering, well, why does this matter? Using your tone of voice is a great way to enhance or develop your executive presence. And if you're trying to really master your executive presence, then there's plenty of videos here on my live channel tab here that talk about executive presence. I have recorded videos on it. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail now, but you are really wanting to stand out. Your executive presence is something that you absolutely want to work on. This is something that will present you as that woman in leadership that is the person that stands out from everybody else. So how can you master your tone of voice? How can you use your tone of voice to make people take you seriously or not take you seriously? And Cappy Lover is right. You don't necessarily want to feel like you have to sound like a boy or a man if you are a woman. This is something that a lot of times women do struggle with, especially when they're in those executive type roles, because they're trying to figure out, well, how can I alter my tone of voice in such a way to where there's some depth to it, but I'm not trying to mimic like I'm sounding like a man. Like we don't need to do that. You don't need to do that at all. But the first step, as I mentioned in the title, the first step you have to do this. And this is so important and it's so easy. It's free. So this is, you have to record yourself speaking. Now I know you may be thinking, I'm shy. I don't want to do that. But if you can record yourself speaking about a topic that you enjoy, a topic that you are not happy about, or a topic that is just very monotone to you, then this will help you to start understanding how you communicate on a one-on-one basis and what is your baseline in terms of how you communicate. So for instance, for myself, this is how I communicate for the most part. Now, what I do, if I need to elevate my voice, I know where my baseline is. I know this is how I communicate consistently. If you talk to me on the street or somewhere, this is how I communicate. But if I want to make something sound really exciting, like I'm really excited about this opportunity, this is great, you'll notice my tone of voice goes up just a little bit. But if I want to talk about something serious, such as there's sometimes issues that come up in communication that are not fair, it's not right, and people are sometimes judged by what they say, and I don't think that's right. You notice my tone of voice goes down just a tiny bit. That's because I know my baseline. You have to know your baseline first. So before I go into this more, let me see what's going on in the chat. All right, Frankie, hello, welcome, Frankie. How you doing today? So Frankie says, how do you deal with the office siren? Office siren. Let me know what you're talking about. I believe I know what you're speaking about, but let me know specifically when you mean office siren. Do you mean the person that's talking the most in the office? I'm assuming you mean something like that. Let me know in the comments below. So I want to make sure I am answering your question correctly by what you mean by office siren. I'm thinking so. Office siren, to me, just the words would mean someone that maybe is the chatterbox of the office. Frankie, let me know, and I'll answer that question for you. Benny123 Jack says, I work in a kitchen, and it really matters on the tone I use. Also, when I am in a normal conversation, like if I want to get my point across, I raise my voice a little. Benny123 Jack, thank you. I appreciate you mentioning that. This is how tone of voice is important. And actually, and I'm glad you mentioned kitchen, because I have experienced many years ago, before I transitioned to being an executive coach that I am right now, where I used to work in a restaurant setting. In restaurants, it is so incredibly important that tone of voice really does matter, because things are moving so quickly. Tone of voice tells a lot. Now, I know you being in the kitchen, I'm sure you've watched many kitchen shows, such as Gordon Ramsay. I'm sure everybody's probably seen him at some point in their lives. And you notice how he changes his tone. You know how he changes his tone of voice. Now, he does sometimes get upset, right? He does. But you can tell the tone of voice tends to change some. And Benny123 Jack, that's a really great point. And I'm glad you mentioned that, because as leaders, when we're trying to lead other people and you really want to stand out from everybody else, you are able to master your tone of voice by knowing when to increase it. Just as Benny123 Jack said, Benny123 Jack said that his voice is increased when he's trying to get his point across, and it goes down, or probably when he's in a normal conversation. So it's good for you to know those specifics about yourself. So Benny Jack 123, I appreciate you sharing that. This is something that is really important, and this is why it's so important. People talk about, I want to be that person to stand out. I want to do this. I want to do that. Well, you have to learn some strategies and techniques if you really want to be that person to stand out. Now, if you want to be that person that kind of stands out, then this isn't the channel for you. If you want to be that person that really stands out, then this is the place for you. You should absolutely subscribe, because I go into detail on these communication strategies and how to really elevate yourself as a leader in terms of how you communicate every single day. So mentioning things like Benny 123 Jack just mentioned is exactly the type of strategies I go with my clients. And if you need some specific support, then reach out to me for a strategy session in the description below. So I appreciate that, Benny Jack 123. Fantastic insight. Frankie says Office Siren was viral on TikTok. I am not on TikTok in that way. I'm mostly on YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram. What does it mean specifically, though? They talk about Office Siren. Is this the chatterbox in the office? Is this what they're referring to? I haven't seen it on TikTok, so you have to explain it to me like I've never seen it, because I literally have not seen it. But I'm just assuming it's probably someone that's a chatterbox. I'm just guessing, possibly. Let me know. All right, Benny Jack 123 says, I just came across you and I like what you do, so I will sub. Well, thank you, Benny Jack 123. Appreciate you being here. Hey, appreciate your insight. It was very helpful. And so, Benny Jack 123, if you don't mind, can you share with us a time when you were in the kitchen when your tone of voice made the difference? So maybe it's something that you were preparing. Maybe it's something that was not where it needed to be. Tell us how your tone of voice in the kitchen really made an impact on something that you were doing. Let me know in the comments below. I'm going to share one with you that I did when it was time for me to adjust my tone of voice. So let me give you an example while we're waiting for Benny123 Jack to provide a response. So a couple years ago, as we all know, COVID happened, right, in 2020. And one of the things that happened with me And I mentioned to you, I know my baseline. So for those of you who are joining, make sure the first thing you do, the first step that you have to do to mastering your tone of voice, which will help you to stand out from everybody else, will help you to outshine everybody else, is to determine what is your baseline. How do you speak normally when you speak to people? The best way for you to do this is the most freest guidance I can give you right now. Get your cell phone and record yourself speaking. That's it, easy. So know what your baseline is in terms of how you communicate, and then you can raise your voice and lower your voice depending on what you have to talk about. As it was mentioned earlier by Cappy Lover, you don't have to sound, if you are a woman, you do not have to sound like a man when you're trying to communicate. If you're a man, you don't have to sound like a woman if you're trying to elevate your voice. You have to just know your baseline and then just know what's comfortable for you in terms of how you're communicating. So for me specifically, what happened in 2020, I was ordering supplies for an organization that I was working for at the time. And I oversaw orders, and I noticed that there was a couple things that just were not making sense to me. And when I was trying to order, I'll give you an example, gloves. That's my gloves and masks. When I was trying to order gloves and masks, I would normally order 20 boxes of them because I had a very large operation I was doing. But I noticed that the boxes, I could only order 5 when I normally order 25. I tried it a few times first to see what was going on, and then I said, wait a minute, something is wrong. And then I said, something is wrong. And so I called our representative, spoke to the representative. They said, hey, something is going on. They are really limiting the number of orders that we have for boxes, for gloves and masks. So I don't know what to tell you, but it's a limit now. And I said, oh, really? It's a limit. Okay. I didn't even know what was going on. We didn't even know what was going on with COVID at that time. We just knew obviously something was working its way around. And I got my team in, I brought them in, and my tone of voice, my baseline that I'm sharing with you right now, it went way down. It went way down. I said, look, everybody, this is the deal. I said, there is a cap that we have on the amount of gloves and masks we need to order. I need you to go to every supply vendor and order as many gloves and masks as you can right now, if you can. And everybody went and did it. I let them know that I was very serious. This was out of my norm, and everybody paid attention, and we were able to recoup some gloves and masks. So this is a way that you can use your tone of voice to master how you communicate and use it strategically to help people to take you very seriously or to help people to be more lighthearted with you. All right, Nuri Channel, welcome. Hello, Nuri Channel. Hello, how are you doing today? Thank you for asking me how I'm doing. I'm doing fantastically well. Every day that I'm here to be present with you all on YouTube and spend time with my family, I'm doing amazing. So I appreciate you saying hello and stopping by. Absolutely, if you have any questions specifically as it relates to how you can master your tone of voice, that's what we're talking about here on this channel today. And if you are wanting to really stand out as a woman in leadership, or if you happen to be a man in leadership, I provide content here. Also, I work specifically with women in leadership as it relates to my one-on-one clients. But on my YouTube channel, I have women in leadership, I have men in leadership that are all here to learn and master and elevate themselves as communicators. So I welcome you. I hope you're able to get some great information here, spend some time on my lives, and learn what you can so that you can stand out from everybody else. Now, we talked a bit about tone of voice, and I appreciate the conversation we've had so far with Frankie and Benny 123 Jack. I appreciate you all being here and providing some engagement, especially with Cappy Lover as well. Great conversation. One of the things I wanted to also mention with your tone of voice, and this is something that we'll talk about in another video, but I want you all to really understand the depth of this topic. People may think that tone of voice does not matter. Your tone of voice really does matter. And if you are trying to elevate yourself, maybe you're at the beginning of your leadership journey, maybe you're in the middle, maybe you're at the end, how you use your tone of voice can either inspire other people to want to be with you and support you, or it can cause people, or you can deflect them and make them not want to listen to you at all. This is not a skill that is only for people who are just starting out. I have seen C-suite executives, senior VPs, higher level administrators like myself make these mistakes with the tone of voice. So this is something, if you can learn how to master, one, what's your baseline, record yourself, get a sense of what your baseline is when you're excited, when your baseline is when you're talking about something that is maybe not as exciting, and what your baseline is if it's something that's really serious. So when you're communicating with people, you have that heightened sense of awareness to know how you want to communicate. This is what I do with my one-on-one clients in a executive coaching session. We work with each other to determine how can we use your voice, your inflection, or raising your voice or lowering your voice to really help you stand out from everybody else. So if you want some support, let me know in the comments below. All right, Benny Jack 123. I'm only 18, so I have been in a kitchen for about a year. Okay, great. And I am learning how to throw my voice across the kitchen in the restaurant because I work in an open kitchen. Yes, so I appreciate you so much for sharing that. And yes, so what are that? I want to say, what are some of your goals? That sounds really exciting. I mean, you're already working in the kitchen, and you do have to speak loud in the kitchen. I've been in the back of the kitchen. I didn't actually cook because that wasn't what I did at that time, but I've worked in the restaurant environment, so I know what it's like. And if you're in an open kitchen, you do have to throw your voice out there, because if you don't, then people can't hear if an order is up or if an order is not up, or I need 5 more minutes, or etc. So I appreciate you mentioning that. This is why tone of voice is important in all roles. And Benny Jack 123, depending on where you're trying to go in your role, in your career, and elevating yourself as a leader, tone of voice is something you want to master. Because if people can hear you and they hear you and you're communicating, then you're the person that starts to stand out. Because everybody in a kitchen, you have to communicate. It's rapid fire. You have to communicate all the time. But the people that stand out are the ones that communicate very well. I say this on my channel all the time. People become great by how they communicate. And so my role here is to help unlock the greatness in you. And so it's very important to be able to master that tone of voice, which is a great strategy that you mentioned in terms of being in the kitchen, that the rest of the audience, even if they're watching the replay, can appreciate it. If you've never worked in a kitchen before in your life, I've been in the kitchen before many years ago when I was in college. Other people may not have been in the kitchen. And so I want them to understand that you can bring so much value to other people in the world watching this, because they have to understand the kitchen is loud. The kitchen is loud. There's a lot of things going in the kitchen. And if you can carry your voice to the other side of where it needs to go, then people know what's going on. They're communicating. Your customers are happy. Your clients are happy. Same type of strategy is applied if you are, let's say, in a boardroom meeting. In a boardroom meeting, you're going to have, you can imagine it like an open kitchen. It is an open forum where people are going to need to hear your voice. If they can't hear that inflection or that deflection or your voice going down, you're going to sound like the commercial for Clear Eyes and Dry Eyes, the man that just says it in the most monotone voice. You don't want that. That's not how you make a big impact, and that's definitely not how you stand out. So that's why I want you to subscribe, because this is what I talk about on my channel to help you stand up for everybody else. All right, so Benny 123 Jack says, and also I work in the back of the kitchen, so I have to be louder than the people around me. Wow. So you really do have to carry your voice. So one of the things I've noticed too, and let me know, Benny 123 Jack, if this happens to you, when you're doing that, does your voice ever start to feel a bit tired, a bit strained, especially if you're in the very back? Then I know you're back there. You're talking pretty loud. Absolutely. Let me know, because as a public speaker, I've been public speaking for over 20 years. I have to monitor myself too. Sometimes when I am on YouTube here, I go live Tuesday through Friday, unless there's something catastrophic that happens. Not catastrophic, unless it's like some type of event and I can't actually be present with you all, then I will have to reach out, have to take a break for a second. But sometimes when I am on Friday evenings where I have more times, I typically do an hour and a half live, and it's much, much longer. All right, so Benny 123 Jack says, I will be going to the military. I ship out next month. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for your service. And what branch of the service are you going to be in? Really glad to hear that, and appreciate you being here and sharing some of your great information here. And Benny 123 Jack says sometimes yes. So yes, you do have to monitor your tone of voice, especially as it relates to how you're communicating from other people. Okay, Benny 123 Jack says Army, ma'am. Okay, awesome. Well, we appreciate you for being in Army, and I appreciate your service always. It's very, very important, and people do not understand and I guess underestimate how much we need our men and women in service, because they do so much for us. And so that's the least I can do. I'm really, really looking forward to helping you. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get off of here. It sounds like my children are having something going on, and I need to see what's going on so I can take care of them. And Benny123 Jack says you are very welcome, ma'am. Absolutely. Hey, we appreciate you more than you ever know. Well, thank you so much for interacting with me. And if you want to learn more on how to master your tone of voice, there's several live videos I have on my channel that talk about mastering your tone of voice. The other one that I want to share with you is that next level in terms of how you can start standing out from everybody else is eye contact. So you want to watch my eye contact videos and listen out for the cowboy analogy. I have a specific cowboy analogy that I use for eye contact that is a very dear favorite of mine. It's something I completely just made up, but it's a great way to show how you can start learning how to master your eye contact, because that in itself, along with your tone of voice, will help you stand out from other people. Now, as I mentioned, these are just very small aspects of how you can communicate as a leader. Tone of voice, eye contact, and much, much more. So you definitely want to hang on and subscribe to the channel. Check out my lives. This is what I do all day. If you have topics specifically you want to learn more information about, then let me know in the comments below. I will do a video just for you, leaders. I will do a video for you and give you a shout out. I've done that many times on my channel. So if you see something and you're wanting to learn, how can I do this? Or how should I manage this situation? Let me know. I tend to deal with the more complicated situations in terms of communication wise. I've been in some very friendly and very contentious situations over the years. So just let me know and I'll be able to support you. All right, Benny123 Jack says you have a great rest of your night, ma'am. I will too, sir. I appreciate you so much and I hope y'all have a great day.